Hi, Uncle Thor here. I see a lot of advertising out there, people getting bombarded with ads, buy this, you need that. And do you really need it? I think my perspective on these things is a little better because I lived in a time when a lot of the things that people take for granted today didn't exist. When the only television was black and white. When the only telephone was a landline. There were no portable phones for us. Or if you could go to a telegraph and that wasn't portable either. When we had no video games, when we had to set up board games, when the banks didn't have ATMs that were open at all hours, so we had to go during bank hours to make a withdrawal or to cash our paycheck from work. It's a very different time, a time when most things moved by train rather than by fast plane. And express packages usually took a few days to get there. So now I see that how useless some of these things are. They're trying to sell people. They're a luxury, not a necessity. And I'll tell you a bit about luxury and necessity insofar as starting an enterprise on your own. When I started the Trollwise Press, what I really had was some experience working in an offset typesetting shop. And so I was the paste-up artist and working around the print industry. I had also worked in places that they basically were print services where they would cut, fold, and bind. And I had an XT computer, a cheap printer, a couple simple programs, and I went to work because I saw opportunity there. And that's how we started the Trollwise Press. We were trying to get The Road to Bifrost published, and I looked at the computer. I said, we could do it. We could print it up ourselves. We could have some fun with this. So that's how it all started. And I went and got a slightly better computer about 6 months, a year later. And it was what they called a 286. A somewhat better printer, some updated programs. They were all DOS. We didn't have Windows yet. And a hand scanner. Cheap little thing. And I was turning out really good work. In fact, people remarked that they said, well, what version of Windows are you using? I says, no, I'm using DOS. And they couldn't believe it. But I didn't know, excuse me, that I needed all these things. A fast version of Windows and the bells and whistles to do these things. I just knew there was a thing to do. I knew what I had, and I knew if I worked at it, I could make it do what I wanted it to do. And that's what happened, you see. And that was a lesson, and it's a lesson I've carried all these many years. Especially when I've seen people stop themselves in their tracks from doing something really creative. And I'll tell you how. I was able to do this because I didn't see any limitations. I only saw opportunity. And when people told me there were limitations, I didn't buy into it. I didn't buy into the fact they were trying to sell me the next version of the computer, which was the 386 or something like that, which wasn't much faster than what I had. The difference was negligible. I didn't know that I needed these programs that they said I needed. But I knew what I had, and I knew I could make it work for me. And over the years, I've seen other things where they're hyping, oh, this is the printer you need. It has this much greater resolution. Well, my original laser printer had 300 dpi, which was more than good enough. Believe me, you know, when you work in, I had worked around printing. I had worked, like I say, typesetting. I was a paste-up artist and in services, binding and such like that. So I knew 300 dpi was good, but I could see the hype. Get the next fastest computer, get the next thing. And you're so busy waiting till you get the money to get the next thing that you don't start working with what you have. And if you look at what you have, you will find usually you have more than enough to do a really credible job. It's just a matter of making it work for you, figuring out how it works and figure out how you can thereby make it work for you. You know, I've always been a little bit behind the times when it comes to my equipment and such. because I know I don't need the latest and greatest. I just need what I can use to make it work for me. And it saves me a lot of time and aggravation, but it also saves me the frustration of waiting. See, so many people wait. They have to wait. They can't start until they get this piece of equipment or these supplies or till they learn to do this. And they never get started because they're always waiting for that thing to come. But if you look at what you have and start with that, there's a thing. I believe in gratitude. I believe it's good to be grateful for what you have, to be appreciative of what you have. And there's a reason for it too. Look at all the things you may have lost in the past that are gone. As I have, I've gone through some losses in the past. Some of them were really kind of annoying and irritating and whatever, but you look at those losses the way I do, and it's like, okay, that's the past. All they are a memory. Can I touch them? Can I use them? Are they in my hand? No, they're a memory. They're in the past. And then there's all those things you think you want. The new equipment, the new tools, the new location, whatever it is. But can you touch them? Do you have them? No, you don't have them because they're just a dream. What you have is what you have. What you can use is what you have. That's all you can use. So look at it, appreciate it, and make it work for you. Don't take no for an answer. Make it work for you. If it's computers, you'd be surprised what you can get them to do. Just don't buy into the hype that, oh, you need a special program for that. Don't limit yourself. Think outside the box. If it's any other thing, again, you may not have the latest and greatest equipment, but you got a place to start. And maybe one day, once you get started and things get rolling, well, profit comes in, then you can get the things that you want to make things a little faster. But nothing gets done unless you start moving now with what you have. So always remember, gratitude keeps you focused. It makes you appreciative on what you have. And when you appreciate what you have, you're going to use it to its best effect. And you will always find, very rarely, am I wrong about this? You will always find that what you have is certainly adequate for what you need to do. Just might take a little ingenuity, might take a little more sweat and effort, might take a little more thinking, take a little more time, but it will do what needs to be done. This is Uncle Thor. Have a good one and get to work. You can start now.